everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the podcast series in Win with Ashwin. The idea of this podcast series is to promote entrepreneurship and help people start the ideas that they have in their mind. I have my friend with me, Mr. Jai Prakash Chopra. He's a good friend of mine and a starter of many businesses. So I thought, who better than Jay to be with me for this great episode and this great start.
Thank you, Ashwin, for having me here.
Yeah, awesome. So Jay, the idea of this episode is that at the end of this, we inspire some kids or some guys or whichever part of their career they are in to go ahead and start the ideas that they already have.
Perfect.
Right. So there must have been a time when you had a lot of idea.
Yes.
And then you took a jump and started something.
Yes.
Right. So how did that happen?
The thing is that people have ideas, right? You make a plan, but the main part is how you execute them. Because I'll say that I have observed even 90% of my team members, even the upcoming entrepreneurs, they have plenty of ideas, but they are scared to take that jump to execute, right? The ideas are brilliant, ideas are plenty. So then what efforts are you doing, to go post that idea?
Got it.
So I think that's the biggest challenge today many entrepreneurs or even the business people face today. And luckily, one thing is that don't be scared. It's a journey, it's a life, and you take life as it comes. Right? Just go with the flow. There may be ups and downs. If you're scaling up, I think you're doing something right. And if you're going down, I'm sure you'll be having a good team or maybe people around you to boost you up and take you on the right path.
I understand this. See, this is something that we've read everywhere. We understand this. And I'm sure that the guy who is listening to this also understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
But tell me your story. Let's talk about your first business itself, right? How did that happen? What was the idea? And then how did you get the courage to, in fact, go ahead and start?
So my first business is into fertilizers. That's in Mysore. And we manufacture fertilizers over here. It was a startup in the year 2013, right? And yes, we have a history with farming. We have a history with sericulture. And agriculture was something that we had to explore. And I'm an MBA graduate, and marketing and sales is something that is my forte. I talk a lot, right?
Agree.
In the start, when the company was formed, when we started, there were many challenges because I was the youngest. I was just 23 to be in fact. And my team was 35 plus. So they taking orders or ideas from a young guy, right, was not very, you can say, promising or something. They were focusing the way they wanted to do it. The break that happened over here, I mean, the first 3 years, we were under huge losses. I mean, the losses were reducing over time in the first 3 years. But I made sure that, let me be an example and show that, maybe somewhere there can be a change. Because the older generation people, yes, they have done something right to reach somewhere. But today we have technology, we have so many systems that we can adapt and move ahead. And today, here we are, where even if I don't go to the factory, my team, I know what's coming in, what's going, how much is going. And with just maybe 5 messages from my different departments, I can analyze the entire day.
That's amazing. And I also agree that I really believe that taking the leap is very important.
Absolutely. I might just tell you one more point here, Ashwin, that recently, I'm also into alcohol business that you're aware of.
I'm surprised why are there no alcohol bottles here? Because Jay, wherever I go, you tell me if I'm right. You have a case of bottles in your car?
No.
And once again, I'm not saying that Bobs would catch me. No, I'm not even saying this in like a negative manner because I am saying that he's living that journey of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? With your Krushi Agro, things are going because you set it up so long ago. Things are stabilized today. But I see that in the case of your alcohol business, it's an actual startup.
Yes.
Because anywhere you go, you're promoting your brand. Anytime you meet anybody, you're promoting your brand. And now Samsara is stuck in my head. And I've told Jay saying, I think in the last 1 year, he must have said the word Samsara like 1 million times.
Absolutely. It's my job. It's like, as I mentioned in the start that I talk a lot.
Yeah.
So, Ashwin, the biggest point in this startup of alcohol was that, my brother and me, when we started this journey, we were not accepted in the markets, and we were not allowed to pitch our ideas or plans to the people, from the industry, right? And today, there are people who are, maybe following us, observing us, investing with us. And there's been a massive turn in the alcohol industry.
Yeah.
It is something that I'm very happy to see this, but at the same time, I'm very sad because my only concern is that for me as an entrepreneur, we are not responsible just for ourselves, right? We are responsible for the rest 20 or maybe the 50 people that you feed on in the factory, right? So that's something which is really important for us, and how you take care of your team. Today's world, to the young, even to the young generation, I'll just explain this to you guys, is that once you have the right team, or maybe you take care of your team, the team will take your places. So taking care of a team is very important.
This has been my journey as well. Whenever I take a look at whatever it is that I've done, there are two ways of going about things. One way is to say that, okay, I'll get my idea perfect. A lot of people get stuck at trying to get something perfect. And I always say that perfection and speed are the opposite sides of the same coin. Right? And if you want something to be extremely perfect, it will never see the light of day.
Absolutely.
It will never come out into the world. For example, this podcast today, as good or as bad or as prepared or as unprepared as it is, only thing that matters is that we take action.
Absolutely.
Right? And you take action. Sometimes you take bigger action. Sometimes you take smaller actions. Yes. But the intention is to start.
The journey where you are experiencing, or maybe what we are experiencing, experiencing right now, right? So you can always add, or maybe, or maybe, rectify for a better journey ahead, right? Until or unless you don't taste or maybe walk that path, you just don't know how where the road will take you. Build the roadmap.
I agree. And I'll tell you this, irrespective of the number of podcasts that I read about, irrespective of the number of podcasts that I watch, this first 5 minutes has taught me more than all of that. And you tell me if I'm wrong. Irrespective of all the alcohol brands that you've seen, irrespective of all the alcohol that you've had, or all the branding that you've studied, the first 1 month of Samsara would have been a totally different learning curve to everything else before that.
I'll say 6 months, because I still remember the date. That's the October 10, 2020, when we just started. My brother sent me a photo that the first bottle of Samsara is sold. That photo is still there with me. And, he used to always tell me, bro, it's getting difficult. People are not accepting. There are few places who are trying to listen to us and get us over there. Yes, there were some people who were there with us, at the beginning of the journey. I told him, patience. It's COVID, and at that time my wife was pregnant, right? And I couldn't venture out, so I told him, wait, let the COVID come down, and then let's go in a proper and systematic way. And you won't believe, the first 6 months, he told me that my target is just around 300 cases to be sold, or cases of pearl, right? For our surprise, we did 1,000 odd cases in the first 6 months. So that's something which built confidence in both of us. And yes, one thing is that to all the young gen, that please socialize, please network. Networking is a must today. And alcohol is a place where you keep people happy, right? So make after the people happy, and they'll love you the more.
Not people above the age of 24.
Below above the drinking age.
Yeah. So I'm also in the business of happiness, you might say.
Yes.
Right. So at GRS, our target audience, like the people who are the happiest, are kids, between the ages of classes of 4 and maybe 9th standard, and their families. These guys love the park.
Yeah.
Right. And they have such a great time. And that's why we've become a destination. If you take a look at it in the last, 25 years, I think we've served about 55 lakh students.
Wow.
From 51,000 schools.
Lovely.
And what had happened is that even in the schools, between the classes of 4 and 8 or 4 and 9, in a year, we get about 1,35,000, 1,40,000 students, which is a phenomenal thing. And so now we've started saying that everything that we do, we cater to this specific audience and try and make it such that we become the best destination for this family whenever they are going out.
I'm so happy the amount of business that you generate, plus the number of mouths and the families that you feed.
Yeah.
So we're so thankful to you for that.
No, of course. Come on. No, that's a it was a very conscious decision of our older generation to, my family, my grandfather is from Mysore, and so he had this thought process that we had to give back something to Mysore, and so then the question came, how do we give back, right? What is it that we can do? In fact, my father, my uncle, and my two uncles started the business. And they were in different parts of Karnataka and in jobs. So my father had started a business in Bangalore, and they were in different parts. And my grandfather had this vision that, okay, we have to give back in some way, and we have to all come together and do something. And that was the genesis of something like this. Even if I think about it back then, for them to give up their jobs and say, okay, let's do something like this and come here and do, it was a huge step.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that over time we've grown so much. And I always tell my team as well, like when we complain about some legacy issues at the park, now I say initially in 99 when we opened, the park was made in such a way that we said if 1,000 people a day come, it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
It would be a great success if 1,000 people a day come. Now, today, there are days when we handle 6,000 people.
Wow.
So look at the kind of infrastructure that we need and all of that we need. And the challenge that day was, what is a water park was not known. People knew lakes, people knew rivers, some people knew swimming pools. Swimming pools are also not common back then. And people maybe knew cement slides in parks. So now you're talking about FRP and advanced plastic slides going into water. People did not know what this was.
Wow.
From there to today, where we are the leaders in the industry when it comes to water parks and other things, it's a great and amazing journey that we've done. Of course, after that, we've added a lot of other things, and we've kept focusing on this customer and trying to give them better experiences and more experiences. So that's been a nice journey in itself. But the first genesis of that was a big deal. And then taking action on that.
So imagine on those days, compared to today, the level of acceptance.
Yeah.
Right? Today, people accept in a wider way.
Yeah.
Imagine the challenges, your father and the brothers would have faced in those days, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And today, with that journey, once they started, today GRS is a destination for Mysore.
I agree.
That people cannot miss.
I
right?
agree. So now tell me one thing. Whenever we start something, right, and we want to do something, there are a lot of people around us, like our family and all of that. Now, there are some families who may be from the business background who will be much more supportive. There will be a lot of people, rather a much larger chunk of people who are from the employed background. When they are starting something of new, it's a whole new angle, right? First, you have to overcome your own mind.
Yes.
And be ready to take that risk. On top of that, you should be able to maybe at times go against your family. So how does all of this work out?
When I was expanding Krushi Agro, and when I still remember the day I told him I want to expand the number of products, the product line. I want to expand to a different state, that's Telangana, Tamil Nadu. My biggest competitor was my dad. Why? Because there are times where my father has experienced that burn and he passed on to me. And that became a challenge to me. I did not give up. And I was like, let me try. There would have been some places where, we all business people, which you also know, we get tempted sometimes. We get excited sometimes. So then I'm sure that, there would have been some mistake at his journey or maybe in his journey. Today, when we've expanded in Telangana from just 7 products to maybe 35 products that we have today, is an achievement, and that's been a challenge to me. Even till date, even though I talk to my father, he always says, son, go slow, be calm, make sure that you are safe. And I'm like, Dad, if there is no risk factor, there's no fun in life. And if I don't accept failure, I will not, I cannot move ahead. Yes, there are times, where there has been failures, right? And I haven't gone back to my dad. I have gone back to friends who have given me the ear, who have given me the advices. And I've seen some people, right? Especially some businessmen in Mysore also. There are very good business people in Mysore. And like I said, networking, because that's one place where your entire stress is worn out, right? And when you get fresh ideas, new thoughts, new thinking, and then you sit down and you're like, okay, I think this is the place where I made a mistake. I can rectify it this way, right? So the question that you said about your own family, yes, my own father was a challenge to me, and I overcame that. And you won't believe, Ashwin, my alcohol business, right? When I invested with my brother, my father, mother, and my family, they said, do not invest. It is something that you should not enter. I still remember my father yelled at me and he called for a family meeting. My entire family said, son, you are doing wrong. Don't invest. It's not a good place to start. And this is 2 months back in December. One of my uncles says that, why don't you add even my, like your cousin brother and this. So that's the change that we've done. Yeah. Because again, over here, when you have a challenge in front of you, how you overcome that in a positive way and don't hurt them also at the same time. And prove them, yes, trust us. Yeah. Because today the avenues that we have is phenomenal.
I agree. And I think one point that you mentioned was father and son relationship. Yeah. I think inherently through the history of time, this father and son relationship has always been something which is a little tricky. Yeah. Because the thing is that I always feel every father feels that their son doesn't know anything. One second, let me finish. I know you have a lot to say. Every father feels like their son doesn't know. Lot of memories. I'm sure that this will touch a lot of people. I hope so. So memories. All fathers think that their son doesn't know anything. And all sons also think that their fathers don't know anything. Right? Like, what I mean by that is that, times have changed. Everything has changed. It was not how it was before. Right? Things are different. This is what all sons think. And I always tell my team as well, under the shade of a big tree, a small tree can't grow. Correct. Right? So you can't necessarily, when you get young people in the organization or when you get young members of the family coming into the business, it's not hand-holding that they need. Yeah. They more so necessarily need freedom. Yes. So kind of say, okay, you step back and you say, okay, do your things, do your mistakes, and I will be here to safeguard you. That's the message that is needed. And, in a sense, my father did that with me. He stepped out and he said, okay, do your thing. And that's how I was able to really explore myself and do things. But before that, I had I had the stint with my ice cream business. As to have a chain of ice cream stores in Mysore and Bangalore. At one point, we had 3 stores in Mysore and 3 stores in Bangalore. And at that time, it was, again, the same thing that you're talking about, right? Like my father telling me something, this is not the way to do it. This is not how it is. And then me saying, what do you know? Yeah. Right? So as I look at it, there are 2 ways to go about this. One way is to say, okay, I know what I'm doing and I'm ready to take that risk. The other way is, maybe you get self-doubt. So now this self-doubt, how do you get over self-doubt?
See, there's a third way.
First of all, do you get self-doubt?
Yes, we all do. And sometimes, yes, we all do. And that is, my habit is that I write down. This is one habit I learned from my father. Just one point, Ashwin, before I move on, I come to this point is that, like your father moved out. The memory which just came into me was that I remember there was one decision I took in the factory, in the fertilizer business, and my father overturned it because he was there. And I yelled at him, because I was like, this was the entire journey, you don't know. And literally I yelled at him and I left the factory. I just walked out and I came back home. And I still remember we had a family function that day and my family was there in the house. My father comes back home and he yells at me and he says that, how dare you yell at me, in the office in front of my people. And I was like, calm down. Relax. The next day, because we both took time to calm down, and next day, I sat down. I told him, just listen to me. This is the plan that I had. And then he says, okay, makes sense, try. Yeah. So, coming to your question, Ashwin, that there's a third way out, which today also I follow. Listen to your father.
Yeah.
Listen to whatever he says.
Yes.
Write down the points. Right, the self-doubt that you had. Yes, there'll be a self-doubt. There'll be a place where they will put you down, or maybe they'll say that you don't know anything, right? But then once you listen and once you process it, take the good points.
Again.
Note down the negatives that he's mentioned and find a solution for it. If you don't find a solution for it, then maybe meet people or maybe try or look for sources that can help you out over there.
Yeah.
Right? This has been my journey since 2015. After I made a small profit in my Krushi agro business, and even till date, by every success in my alcohol business that we do, like as a team, I tell my father, and he just says one thing, son, be careful. And I'm like, don't worry. We've had experiences and we've seen a journey in life from a moment where we had no food to eat today to a place where we're a multi-fold business today. So, yeah, I mean, that's a journey which is taking us apart.
I think, I took this decision about 2 years ago as well that, I went to a particular program that I went to and it was called the Landmark Forum. And so when I went there, one of the concepts that they were talking about was how your parents are your core relationships in life. And unless your core relationships are strong, it's very difficult to set up other relationships in life which are strong as well. And so that's when I decided saying, what you said is like 100% right. I'm just going to listen. Because 99% of who we are because of our parents.
True.
And because of everything that they did.
True.
And so when that was happening, I decided saying, okay, no more like he's right or I'm wrong or he's right. No more none of this. I just listen. And now what that has done is it's my relationship with my father is it's amazing. I'll tell you, Jay, like when you're leaving home, if your father says, let's say you want to go somewhere and you want to win some deal and your father says, go son, I'm with you.
Yeah. That's the confidence that you feel when you leave the house. It's the same thing that my father does to me also because I tell him, I'm traveling here for so and so deal. And he just says, all the best. I'm sure you'll do well. And those words win us.
Yeah, sorry. What do you want in life?
Absolutely.
And if my father, when I'm leaving home, if my father says, oh, you're looking sharp today. I'm done, man. I am the king of the world, right? I will go and rule the world after that. I think it really matters. And in the relationship with our fathers, I think we have to take 100% responsibility for how that relationship goes as well.
True.
We should not think that our fathers have a role to play in it. What I mean by that is, irrespective of how they are, the relationship has to be good. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it is such a core relationship to us, no matter what they say, at the end of the day, they're saying it for your good. It might be said in a wrong manner, right? But your father's, like, for example, I'll tell Advik, my son, saying, don't climb on the table, be careful, be careful. Yeah. He thinks that why is he not letting me climb on the table? But my intention is that this fellow should be careful. Yeah. Right? So I think that's the...
See, I really, Ashwin, that you were right. I think the way we interpret their message may be in a negative way, but because they are telling us for our own good, right? So now, let's go back to the past of others, right? They built a base for us. They started from the scratch. They laid a foundation for us. They built a small empire, and from that small empire, today where you and me are, we are growing the empire, right? So we should be thankful to them because the challenges that they would have faced to start a business from the scratch to a level where they gave us, or maybe they're guiding us, is something that is phenomenal. Yes, with my alcohol business, we have done it from the scratch. Even I have experienced that it's not easy. There are times where I've not spent time with the family. My father used to tell, son, you're married, you have a daughter, you're not spending time. It's not right. But then I told him that right now this startup needs attention, time, efforts. And it's a must. Or else we'll be nowhere. And the number of challenges that we faced, was phenomenal. So
now tell me one thing. If people don't have this backing, all right? If people don't have this backing, does this avoid them from being successful or doing big things?
Absolutely no. I'm sure they'll be having the friends because if, let's assume, let us say an entrepreneur doesn't have his parents, I'm sure that he is not the only person who started the business by himself. He has met his cousins, he's met his friends, or maybe a life partner, right? Where they have taken the plunge to start something new. If not your parents, or maybe if not your father or mother, it is the other person with you, your partner with you. So that's very important.
So what you're saying is that leverage the people around you.
Absolutely.
And take them on board.
Yes.
This is not a single person journey.
Absolutely.
Like a startup or a business. I think constantly that train of thought has been there with you, and this is something like that I fully vouch for. This is not a single person like a combat, like me on you. It's not that.
Correct.
It's basically the entire organization, an organization like an organism. Like all the people coming together, making sure that we are all aligned in the same direction.
Yes.
And when one person wins, everybody wins.
Yes.
You would not be able to create that kind of value if only single person fought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because if you're alone, right, yes, there will be some values where you bring in. But if you're taking the partner along with you, and if you trust your partner, your values and the other person's values are different. They're not, maybe I'll say around 70% they may vibe with each other, but 30% there's an additional hidden value that they can bring in after you win the trust.
Right.
So that's very important. So single-handedly, maybe you can handle the business, but if you have a team or maybe your partner with you, the person whom you trust, and the key role is, to be transparent and to communicate. Right. If that is not there, you name departments, there's going to be a difference, or maybe.
What do you mean by being transparent and being open in terms of communication?
Again, this is my journey of mine in the alcohol business, and my younger brother, I've been telling him from the start. So yes, my younger brother is who's the man behind the alcohol business, and the investment came from my side, and I was adamant that we will do the business, and I will be there for the business operation, because he's not from even though he is from a business background, somewhere I could sense that he cannot. He needs some training to manage business, which I'm very proud of. Today, he's doing a very good job to manage the business. So my point from the start was communicate, and I've told this to him several times. Yes, as an elder brother, I have backups. Yes, I am not behind money, but I'm behind respect, and there are times where I have settled myself and I've told him he is my brother. It's okay. There are some mistakes done by him. He's not even till date. There are some points where he takes the pride of going, or of doing it by himself. I'm like, at least communicate so that we are all in the same boat. If someone, now example, if he does something and if he doesn't mention to us founders, right? And if someone else asks you a question, we should not be blind. We should be able to answer and back him up, back his plan up. So that's very important.
Yeah, great. I completely agree that communication forms. We are known to people by our communication.
Yes.
And so as long as we keep the communication channels open, as long as we are transparent about whatever it is that we're doing, there are no breaks. Yes. Otherwise, you're constantly dealing with this kitsch all the time, trying to.
I'll give you one more example, Ashwin. I'm sure you have maybe 30, 40 vendors, right? There will be maybe 1-2 vendors with whom you were close. You'll be talking to that vendor maybe 4-5 times a week, right? Compared to the rest 25 and 28 vendors, right? The relationship between those 2 vendors whom you talk constantly would be different compared to what the other vendors are. Why is that? Because you are talking, you are communicating, you're sharing your ideas, right? So that is the trust, very important trust for any business to work.
What you're saying is that, okay, let's talk about this. That communication, being in touch with people really matters.
Absolutely.
And you're talking about networking really matters. For example, like I personally, I'm not a networking person, right? I'm not a person who does networking all the time, or I just don't, right? I just don't do that. But I would really like to, get in on this and see if it'll be of some use to me as well. So how to do networking? What is networking?
Be yourself. You are going to meet all kinds of people, right? Successful, I have met people who have come to extract something from me. And what happens in networking is over time, you learn, how a person is. You can feel what a person is, and you can make a right judgment in future. You can make a right judgment on which team member that you want, because through networking, you have learned something yourself. You're experiencing something, for yourself with people around you, right? So
I
that's
think your
very important.
horizons increase because
Absolutely, because you are seeing varieties of people, right? People from different backgrounds, people from different journeys. Some have failed, some are struggling, some are happy, some are content, some are thriving, and some are like you are meeting all kinds of people. So you are just not meeting people, of your caliber. And when you interact with all, right? So you just imagine the number of ideas, thoughts, words coming into your mind, and you utilizing that and use the positive thoughts, so that your journey becomes more smoother.
got it.
So that's more important in networking. And just be yourself. You don't need to have, you don't need to put see, today young generation that, I recently I went for a event, and I'm seeing the young people wearing your LVs, and I understand, they may have the money, right? But I'm like, okay, what do you do? And he's like, I'm in a startup, right? So I asked him the questions that what's a turnover, what do you do, and everything and all. And he just said, I just made my first profit. I bought a LV for myself. And I told him, don't you think that, you should have invested the money somewhere so that your business stabilizes, and then maybe in future, who knows, after 3-4 years, you could have bought a Porsche for yourself, isn't it? Think bigger. So imagine, these young people telling me that, and maybe this is an advice I gave him. And then he said, you're right, but there's something that, I want to do something for myself, and I want to just go shop. So you just accept the fact, accept the way they are, and then you realize, okay, this is one journey that I've seen over here. Great. So where he's taken the advice, but yes, even he put his point forward, and I said, okay, I think that what's right for you. So you go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Great. And now, inherently, certain people are risk takers. Inherently, certain people are not risk takers. Right? They like to be a little safer. But irrespective of whoever it is, everybody has dreams.
Absolutely.
Right? Dreams of doing well for themselves, dreams of doing well for their family. One way of doing well is, of course, through business. And all businesses don't necessarily turn out well. Eventually they might. If you stick to it long enough, eventually they might turn out well. But there is a very high chance of things not going well. That's why the risk is high. Okay? Now, for the people who are on the fence, who are not able to take the risk, how do they change their mind?
I'll just say that, find solutions to it. Nothing else. Because risk is there in every part of your life. I'm sure even when we got married, there was a risk.
I don't know. So that jerk, not in mine. Jay, I don't say these things on camera.
No, I mean that. See, why I'm saying this is because that jump, right? You feel nervous, you are scared. It's a brand new journey, so that risk factor, right, which comes in, because you can term as a risk, or you can say, there are different terminologies, to use that. Because you said risk, because you've been a journey. Today, the way you manage your family, the way you manage people, the way you manage your businesses is phenomenal, right?
Yeah, I think I read a really nice quote one time. What is courage? Courage is not lack of fear. It doesn't mean that fear goes away. Courage is being able to take action despite fear being there.
Absolutely right.
Right? So your fear is never going to go away. I see this a lot of time. Even while walking up to this place to come and do this thing with you, I had a lot of fear. But then I reminded myself that courage is not that fear will go away one day.
True.
Fear will never go away.
True.
But while fear is there, how do you take action?
So I tell myself, even the same thing while coming here right now, the first podcast of mine. And yes, there was a fear somewhere of,
not fear, maybe like nervousness.
Nervousness, right? So I told myself, Jay, it's journey. Let's see how, what happens. Let's go with the flow.
Yeah.
So that's very important. So if you convince yourself that take the jump, jo hota hai, hota hai.
Yes, I love what you said. And it's all a mindset game. It's all a mindset game at the end of the day, because what we've seen around the world all the time is you might have two kids of the same father who get all the money in the world, but one fellow becomes extremely successful, whereas the other doesn't.
Yeah.
The only difference is mindset.
Mindset.
Right? You can have people who come from a family background, who come from a very strong family background, but are not able to make anything of it.
True. Very
You might have people who come from no education, no whatever things, not being good, and still being able to make it big in life. Right? So the only difference in all of these circumstances is your mindset. That's the only thing that you have a control over.
Correct.
And if not for this mindset that you were also talking about, that okay, in a way, I say that we have to become bulletproof. Right? All these
bullet guys are proof.
require what I mean by bulletproof is that we apply the most amount of brakes in our lives. Right? It's not the outside world that stops us. It's our own thoughts, and it's our own, like for me, it's my own thoughts, it's my own doubts, it's my own, like, am I in the right place? Am I supposed to be here? You know, I know that there are certain board meetings which I go to, and I'm the youngest there, and I have so much self-doubt. Yeah, am I in this right place? Right? And I was talking to Pratap yesterday, and I told him saying, boss, we are doing this. Am I even an authority on this to talk? He said, that's when this knowledge about imposter syndrome and this and that, all of this comes into play. These are all the tricks that our mind plays to keep us in this sort of calm atmosphere and not let us take risk.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll tell you a small thing. I've had this dream for a long time that I have a farmhouse. So I wanted to give it out on Airbnb. Right? So the farmhouse is now done and it's amazing and all of that. Now, I've just not been able to move ahead and put it on Airbnb at all. Like, it's such a small thing for me, but still not able to move ahead with it because I'm like, oh, what will happen? What kind of customers will come? What will happen? What will do this? What will do that? So now I'm like, stupid mind, you don't know what you're talking about. All this doesn't make sense. Just take action. The first customer will like tell you, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do?
It.
Yeah. And unless I take action, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Unless I took action on this podcast as well, this wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
If I let my mind, if you listen to your mind, no, it'll not let you do anything.
So I'll give one recent instance of mine, Ashwin. So with our alcohol business, right now, we are having a Valentine's promotion happening in Bangalore. Brand new idea. Till date, no company in the last, I think, 40, 45 years have thought about this. And I'm thankful for my brother that he supported me and he you go ahead, we'll see what happens. The promotion is that we've tied up with 5 restaurants and we've taken the discount coupons and we've also tied up with the mixer, right? So we have your gin, you have your mixer, you have a brochure of a discount coupon in a nice packaging, and we've kept at the retail outlets. This idea was accepted. Before going there, when I just thought about the idea, right? First thing is that to overcome your fear, I wrote down, the SWOT, strength, weakness, and where I might lose. And you won't believe, I couldn't see any weakness. The only challenge that I know that I saw that I'll be facing is, what if this doesn't sell, right? So we did influencer marketing. We've done lot of word of mouth marketing we've done. So then, even through Instagram and other platforms that we can use, I think that's the only platform that we have to market, right? Because in alcohol, it's too limited to market. You won't believe, Ashwin, that fear to today, the confidence. And once our gift pack was there at the shelf, and once people were buying and they're making noise about it, last week, there's a diamond merchant from Bangalore, and he's like, why don't we tie up? And we gave a discount coupon on the lab-grown diamonds of 25% with Sansara. And I'm like, wow. So from fear to new opportunities coming to you is a great experience.
And it only happened because you took action.
Absolutely.
Right? You went beyond that fear and you took action. And I'm not saying that, see, a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is about taking huge actions and huge risks and all of that. Whereas even taking these small actions in the right direction is also overcoming your risk, right?
True.
And there's a lot of times we just get stopped by thinking about this all the time. Even small actions is good enough, and this will compound over time.
Correct.
And all of these smaller actions will keep compounding. And you talked about confidence, and I have this line as well. Like, I have so many lines that keep coming up in my head while you're talking. Confidence, they say, is going beyond your boundaries and just going beyond that. Whatever is you think is your boundary, just going beyond that and achieving it gives you confidence. Because let's say that you will always be confident about something in your life. Like, you might be confident at home, but maybe not confident to step out. But if you step out a little and you do it well, then now you're getting confident about that. And it's a progressive step. Now, tell me one more thing. When it comes to startups, right? Today, because of digital, because of all the economic times, this, that, and all the time we keep hearing about this much funding, that much funding, this startup, that startup, like the tech startup. Now, all of this has become very like glamorous. But recently I was at an event and one of the speakers there was saying, see, all of this is just glamour because it's 1% of India. But the rest of it is all MSMEs who are making amazing work.
Difference, yeah.
The real work, the real employment is being done by the small guys, the small start, like you not the traditional start, like not a startup, but a traditional business. These are the guys who are actually making the money. These are the guys who are actually giving the employment. And these are the guys who are actually doing the idea. A lot of times we think that it's this Swiggy and Zomato which are like traditional, but though they are not making money, they might not be making like money as such, but they are working at a scale and you see them all the time on the news and other things. We think that is startup. So what's in your mind the difference between, let's say, a startup, a business, and this tech startups and all of that?
See, today, because of my experience in the fertilizer business, now in the alcohol business, because it's a pure startup, we are using a blend of traditional and modern way. Because when we started the journey, my brother and me were clear that we will do a valuation of maybe 500 crores, sell the business, chill, relax, retire by 40. Today, in this journey, it's just been 4.5 years right now since the alcohol business started. And our thinkings have changed because the amount of respect, the value that you get, right, is phenomenal. So today, when we are blending the traditional business, the traditional style of doing business with modern culture, we are profitable, right? So then you change your mind process, thinking process that, okay, now we've been here. It's been a great journey. How do you? So it's a choice of yours that you want to continue your journey from there, or you want to sell your business and jump to a different one, right?
Correct.
Even till date, my brother and me are finding different avenues to try, right? So that doesn't stop us over there, because right now, why am I saying a blend is because in traditional, you have your systems place. Like I mentioned earlier, like in Krushi Agro, that my fertilizer business, because I have systems place, even if I don't go, my team is performing, right? So that systems are being placed, have been placed in our alcohol business too, right? But then the modern values is that, the new ideas, the new way of accepting people, technologies, and all this stuff is very important. So I think it's a blend of both, maybe, and ultimately it is your choice whether you want to sell your business or you want to take it to a greater height. So
I agree. Also, let's not get just glamorized by tech startup.
yes.
Yeah, right. Let's not get glamorized.
Each journey is different.
Yeah.
Each journey is different.
Yeah, each journey is different. Each idea is different. Every idea does not have to be like $1 billion idea.
Your end goal is different. My end goal is different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to. I mean, you just can't relate to a person. I mean, like, this is what it is, right? There is no definition to it. There's no limit to it, right? It's up to you where you want to stop. It's up to you where you want to, like how long you want to continue.
Yeah.
So that's your call.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship, as I look at it, is not a race.
Yes.
It's a marathon. What I mean by that is that what you start, it's not that is your final thing. Plan A is never the final plan. You start with plan A, you start with one thing, and then you build some muscle, and then you do your plan B, and then you do your plan C, And for all you know, you will get more success with your alcohol business than you did with your Krushi business. And then, that might be the case as
It
well.
is the
right?
case. Yeah, it is the case because right now the main focus is here because being a startup, the way we are scaling is multifold compared to my fertilizer business. And again, see right now what my father told me in the early days that I'm very content in my fertilizer business, but that doesn't stop me there because as I mentioned earlier that I have people to feed. So how do we sustain the business, right? So I have to even grow my business in myself plus the alcohol business. So that's very important.
I completely agree. Like, for example, when we started with GRS as well, it was traditionally a much smaller business. But today we've been adding so many new things. We've been thinking of expansions constantly. This wouldn't have happened if not for that base.
True.
Right. So keeping what we are today in mind, if somebody I get a lot of entrepreneurs who want to start amusement parks who come to GRS, who come and take a look. In fact, today I have one person who's coming from Hyderabad, who's coming to take a look at the park and who's coming in at, I think, some 11, 12 o'clock to take a look at what is it that we have done. Now, on day one, he might not be able to do this, but he can start. And then, it evolves over time. And then today we are thinking, how do we expand out of here?
Yeah.
How do we do more things here? All of these ideas are there because we've got this foundation.
Yeah. See, again, why I say a blend of both is because the traditional method makes you slow down somewhere and brings in discipline in it. Right? See, any business today requires discipline. So many other factors, that is, say, less pride, less ego. There's so many other factors which plays to be successful, right? So in traditional business brings that, where you realize, where to slow down and where not to. So today, if you see the business scenario, there are so many family businesses running today, and depends how much you are involved. So I think a blend of both is one of the major factor to sustain for a longer term.
Yeah. And I think India, traditionally being a very family-oriented society, family businesses make sense.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the world, India, I think, has the most number of family businesses. I see one trend today, a lot of people where their fathers were running businesses as well. And those businesses, they feel are not glamorous enough. Kids are not coming and joining. Now, this is a big loss to the nation, right? They have to come and join. That's one thing. And suppose your family is not a business family. You have the option to make this generation to start the business family from this generation.
Absolutely.
You have that's the option that you have. Yes, you're not from a business family, but from this family, this generation onwards, it can be a business family, no?
Absolutely. I mean, I have see. I mean, now because of this alcohol business, the number of people I meet, like I said, networking, right? So I'll give you one more small example, Ashwin. That I won't take names, but then there is one family where not in India, that's overseas. It's a family business run since the last 45 years. The first gen, the second gen also has here. Now he wants to pass on to the next generation. The two sons are fighting amongst themselves, and this father is stuck, what to do next. Now that is a challenge where, see, most of the businesses failed is because of the internal conflicts which happen over here, rather than the external factors. Maybe your team, maybe your directors, maybe your board, maybe your partners. So I will say, I think around 80% of your business failures is because of your internal team. And how you solve that, how much are you willing to let go to safeguard that empire, depends on you.
I agree. I think that really matters. And to the guys who are starting off afresh and starting off anew, all this might seem a little disconnected. It might seem a little disconnecting. I think, again, coming back to the thing that all that you've said, if I have to filter it down, I would say one is just take action, right? Go beyond your fear and take action, take small actions. Don't do something which will, of course, risk the entire family. It's okay. That's not what is the need of the hour. But at least take some action, no? Take some action in the direction of your dreams. All of us have dreams. Some action you take. That's point number one. And then point number two that you talked about was, get people together.
Yes.
Right? Get people together because leverage their strengths, leverage the strengths of your team, leverage the strengths of your family, leverage the strengths of the people around you and the community. Other main thing that you talked about was communication and transparency, which I think is really important. And this is something that I'm going to take away as well. How do you keep all of your ego aside? How do you keep all of this aside in view of the bigger picture? So now these 3-4 things are very good. But one thing which is very close to my heart is, Jay, this concept of the dream. Right? So what's our dream? How do we achieve that dream? How do we go to that dream? Do you have dreams?
Yes, I do have dreams. My ultimate dream is, with my wife and hopefully my children along with me, because they'll have their own journey. I dream of just having a relaxed life, happiness around around us, because I think success is not money or power or something. It's where there's happiness with the loved one, right? So that's.
I agree. I'm asking you, what's your dream for your business?
Dream for my business, obviously, it's to take it to $1 billion right now, and we are working on it. But then again, who knows, in the journey, dreams change. As plans change, journey changes. We don't know, but yes, I had plans for my Krushi Agro to be a one-stop solution for the farmers, which we are working. We were very aggressive in the start, and now because of one more startup, yes, I agree that there's been a slowdown over there, but our journey doesn't stop, right? We are still working towards that. So the dream is, again.
How important is the dream for an entrepreneur?
No dream is bigger than your family. Yeah. So, like I said, dreams change. It's a journey which takes you along. And if your dream is affecting your family first, then I think you'd let go of a dream. So that's my journey. That's my thinking. Maybe who knows, others might think in a different way. But if you're not happy when you come back home, what are you working for?
I agree.
Whom are you working for?
I agree.
So
yeah, I completely agree, and I always tell this to my team as well. I say that your family is your priority.
Yes.
It has to be, and it is for me as well. No matter what. Because at the end of the day, as hard as we work, right? As hard as we work, the early mornings that we wake up, the late nights that we sleep, trying to achieve whatever it is that we want to do with the business. Suppose your family is not happy, then what's the whole point of any of this? It doesn't feel like there's any point in any of this.
absolutely.
But I also think that, dreaming big, is not easy. Dreaming big.
Why do you say that?
No. Let me finish. What do you think is right? It should not be difficult. It seemed difficult, like sometimes, even the, like for example, you said, I want to be $1 billion alcohol brand. Now, to be able to internalize that and to be able to say that as well is a big deal. Like, for example, in the case of GRS, I keep saying, my dream is that I want to do 1,000 crore revenue per year. How to get there, I don't have an idea. But that's where I want to get. And that's what I'm working for. That's why I'm working very hard. And because at the end of this, when we do that, imagine the kind of benefit that the society is going to get from something like this. Right? So now this dream drives you. This dream drives you all the time. So how important is our dreams about the business to the entrepreneur to drive themselves?
It's very important. See, now, as you said, GRS, that you want 1,000 crore company, right? What are you doing for it? How are you doing for it? That's very important, right? And do you know where to slow down, where to be aggressive? There are many factors in business which come in place. Personal, external, internal, and maybe some more, which I don't want to mention right now, but there are factors, right? So it's up to you what actions or ideas you are taking. Because just now you said that you have no idea But then have you planned a journey? Now, example for us to be to reach $1 billion company, right? Today we cannot work alone. I believe our hand, right? The five fingers, right? You have to work together, tie-ups. We have a small finger, a bigger finger, larger finger. So each finger has its own role, right? And this is where, you hold hands and you walk the path, right? So it's up to you how you want to plan your roadmap. Dreaming is very important. Without a dream, you're nowhere, right? And I think that is maybe one part of the goal that you'll achieve. And once you achieve that, your dreams keep growing bigger. So I don't see a difficult or a challenge for you to dream bigger, dream bigger. But once you reach that goal, that maybe your first step, second dream, third dream, right? That's an achievement in me. So this is what drives us today. That when we launched our alcohol, the first alcohol, then we launched India's first pink gin, and then we launched different varieties of gin. Then now we were like, do we have to be stuck to a gin? No, let's expand. I think we should be the next Diageo or a Pernod or a Bacardi from India. And how do we work towards that? Our main intention was just to sell the company, chill, relax. So that dream we achieved, but then now our dreams change over time once you achieve those dreams, right? So today, when I say that we dream to be $1 billion, to reach $1 billion, now what actions we take internally matters a lot.
Right.
And this is where I drive my brother like, let's do this. This is what we need to do. Yes, the process is slow. Yes, there is a reference somewhere, but once you accept all of this, it becomes easy for you to build a better roadmap ahead to reach the dream.
I agree.
So that's important.
Like for myself as well, I have very big dreams for JRS. And this is what makes me wake up early in the morning, makes me work very hard, makes me go out of my way. And now, for example, like I know I told you that I'm not a networking person, but if networking is required to succeed and to make this dream come true, then I will do networking. Whatever is required, I will do.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but now I tell you, through networking, today we are where we are. Because once you network and once people know who you are, what you are, and once they see that they can build a trust in you, there may be a new opportunity, a new roadmap for you to walk on that path with your brand. And this is where networking has helped us as a company to grow.
Yeah.
So the number of tie-ups that we do, the number of events that we do, the marketing budgets that we have, it keeps increasing at the same time. But because of networking, yes, there's an expense. Yes, I will not call it as expense. For me, networking is an investment. Because if today you're spending, let us say, maybe 50K or 1 lakh, or maybe it depends, how you want to, how much you want to spend for networking. There's no limit. So let's assume you spend 1 lakh for a networking event, right? Networking is not just where you go to an event and just sit. I went and I came back. No, networking is something where you go to an event, you come out of your comfort zone, talk to people. Hi, this is what I am. This is from, this is what I do. This is the city I'm from in. And yes, in your first, event, you may not be successful, but maybe the third or the fourth event, when people observe you, when people see, yes, you are there for them, that may break the ice and, maybe build a journey.
I agree.
That's important.
I completely agree. I get what you're saying. I completely agree with that. And dreams form a very important part of all of this because it drives you to do whatever it is that you have.
Yes.
Right? You have to do networking, so be it. If you have to be that organized person to get your accounts in hold, so be it. You will be that as well. So whatever is the need of the hour, you'll do because you can't let your dreams die. True. You can't let your dreams die. And once you've set your dream, then it's a game. And we play that game to win. And we play that game to make it big. And we play that game to win. Completely agree. And there's no dream which is big or small or good or bad or whatever. Yes. Everybody just has to have that dream and just take action. We just have to take action. And this is something that I keep reminding myself. a lot of things that I do are really uncomfortable to me. When I think about it as well, it's really uncomfortable. But then just go ahead and take that action. No, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
No, but again, there are some dreams which you have to let go of it just to sustain a bigger dream. So again, I just say it's a journey, and once you, as you rightly mentioned, action or maybe walk that path, you realize where you are and what you are.
I agree.
So,
That's a good thing. You should let go of your dreams if you get bigger dreams.
absolutely.
I think that's a
Absolutely.
good note. So, Jay, having spoken all of this from father-son relationships to how communication is important, to how taking risks is important, how going beyond your fears is important, being courageous is important. Beyond, like we've spoken a lot of things today. So, do you have any closing remarks to those guys? So I'll tell you, whatever you're going to say next, you're going to get like a few people to take some action. So, what is it that you want to say?
See, I'll just say that today, the young gen that I'm meeting, don't. So once you take the journey, I mean, like once you start the journey and once you achieve the first step of yours, the first goal of yours, please don't bring in pride. Let go of your ego. Be as subtle as you can, and take people along with you. So don't let the success hit your head, hit your pockets. Be disciplined, move ahead, and make sure that you build a team, and that team drives you ahead. So that's my message to the young people. And success is not just through business. Success, there are many other ways. Even a socialite is a successful guy today, right? So move towards respect. Don't run towards money. So I think respect is something which will bring in love, a lot of love and happiness somewhere. So move towards that.
I agree. Respect will give a lot of love and happiness, but if you don't have money, then respect is of no use.
Somewhere, I don't know, it's a fact.
Are you saying that you would exchange respect for money?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
But you need to have something in your bank, no, Jay? If you don't have money in your bank, then
respect is something which motivates and drives people. So, again, because to earn the respect, you've taken a lot of actions.
But you need bare minimum money, in your account.
Yes, you do. But I'm not saying that, you need to be successful to have respect. Right? So I think respect is, I think, a part of a definition to success.
I agree. I think it's not the end goal, but it's how you live your life every day.
Absolutely.
It's how you live your life every day. It's not that you become respectful at some point or you earn respect at some point. You earn respect throughout the journey. And you run your business or you run your life based on certain values, which will give you respect. I completely agree
with it. It's a short life, Ashwin. It's a very short life. Live your life.
This is something that I don't agree with. I think you and me will have long lives, but
I mean, yes. I see the age, like that. We have no control over what comes next. But whatever journey you're living today, make the most of it, and keep as many people happy as you can along, with your journey. Nothing.
Amazing. I think that's a great point. My one thing is that, when you want to start something, there's no right time to start.
Yes.
It doesn't. This is my final conclusion is that, a lot of people think that only when you're young you have to start. You can start anytime.
KFC is a good example.
Yeah, so you can start any time in your life and in your journey. Even if let's say you're not from a great financial background and initial part of your career and your life, you have to work in order to, make sure that your family is doing well and other things. But don't let the dream die. Even if you're 50 years old or even if you're 60 years old, now you've had enough money. There's nothing wrong in going out and starting something. I have a lot of friends who've started much later in their life because things got stabilized and then they had the privilege of starting a little later.
True.
But don't let that dream die, because I really think that as a country, if we want to move forward, as a nation, if we want to move forward, it's the small business owners who will really take things forward. It's the small, it's the small startups which will make the huge difference, because That's where all the dreams come true.
Small businesses drive the big businesses.
Yeah, everything is driven by that.
Yes.
So all of us have dreams. It doesn't mean that you start this dream today, you start this dream tomorrow. A lot of other factors that you have to weigh in on. But don't let the dream die.
Absolutely.
Don't let the dream die. Have the dream. Have the dream. If not today, it's fine. It's completely fine if it's not today. If it's not tomorrow, it's fine. If it's after 10 years also, it's fine. If it's after 20 years also, it's fine. But don't let it die. And that's my only thing all the time. Whenever anybody has a dream, doesn't have to be immediately, but someday make it happen.
Correct.
So I think we've come to the end of the first episode. It was a great journey for me. I got to learn a lot of things. There is a lot of mindset shift that I have to work on. And Jay, thank you so much for being an amazing guest. And it was a lot of fun for me as well. And this is like relaxation in the middle of the week for me.
Perfect.
Right? It's like relaxation in the middle of the week. I get to talk to somebody that I love. And what more do I want?
I hope your first step, your first action takes you to longer heights.
Wow.
Bigger heights.
Wow, great. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Jay.
All the best, Ashwin.
Thank you so much.